We have always, since the beginning of time, operated on a vertical scale. And as much as people have tried to make it horizontal, it has never been that way. It has never been left or right. It's always been top or bottom. A horizontal scale lets you live in the delusion that you are on an equal playing field. That has never been the case since the beginning of time. It lets people believe that they can be in the same position of systemic power as those at the top of the vertical scale. I imagine it's very comfortable trying to operate from left to right when you don't have to realize that you're at the bottom. That those at the top of the vertical scale think that you're beneath them and has always thought that way. Hence why they have put systems in place from letting you prosper. But when you're operating on a horizontal scale from left to right, you think that you have a chance. And that system has never been in your favor. Ever. Realizing that this system is vertical forces you to realize exactly where you stand. And those of us that have always known that the system has been vertical has always tried to fight for systemic change. And those of you that have tried to operate on a horizontal scale have done nothing but lived your life in a constant state of complacency. Just because you think you're in a position closer to the top than you actually are. Pull your head out of your ass and realize that the scale was never in your favor and won't ever be in your favor.
Hey you guys, welcome and welcome back. I need to tell you guys a secret. That's not really a secret, but it's something that everyone who's impoverished or feeling low in their status needs to understand, okay? When the powerless become powerful, the cycle simply repeats. Let me say it again for y'all who may not understand. When the powerless become powerful, the cycle repeats. So we need to have a little conversation about that, because I think there's a few people, whether they're in prominent positions or not, whether they're in the hood or in the corporate office cubicle next to you or wherever they are, there's a lot of people who need to understand this, and you might be one of those people. So don't click off just yet, because it's something that a lot of us are about to see play out, and I feel like it's played out before, which has caused a lot of problems for a lot of us as to why we're in the predicament and situation that we're in. Okay, so you guys like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. I'm really working on getting to 2,000 subscribers, so if you guys could help me out with that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your love and support. Let me know in the comments if you get what I'm saying. Are y'all picking up what I'm throwing down? Because it's very simple to me, but it's not very simple to everyone else sometimes, and I just want to talk about this, so let's go ahead. Now, what is the difference between someone with power and someone who is powerless? What's the difference? Y'all tell me, let me know. Do you know the difference between someone who is powerful and someone who is powerless? Because it's probably not what you think it is. The difference more than likely is not what you think it is. And I'm gonna tell you guys the difference. The difference is mindset. The difference is perspective. The difference is your own personal belief. The only thing that defines whether or not you are powerful or powerless is what you believe. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your circumstances? What do you believe you can accomplish when it comes to improving your situation? Because that one thing will determine whether or not you are someone who is considered powerful or someone who is considered powerless. And what a lot of people who feel powerless don't understand is that having the power or the money or the clout or the fame, whatever you have been trained to believe that power actually is, whether you have those things or not, it doesn't define whether you are powerful or powerless, because all of those things can be snatched away or given back or snatched away again at the drop of a dime.
Things that bother you, they never bother me. I feel happy and fine, living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
It doesn't matter how much money or clout or fame or status that you have. Those are not the things that make you powerful. It's your state of mind. Now, let's just be real, a lot of Black people feel like we come from a descendant race of gods and goddesses called the Anunnaki or whatever else they call it, okay?
This is what the Anunnaki said.
That's what a lot of Black people think. They think that we come from these great beings that have power that's unimaginable and untamed and, that can't be stopped, okay? Can't stop, won't stop. I'm not saying that that's not true. I love diving into those different theories and thinking about it and imagining it. Like,
wow, that would be cool. That would be crazy.
It's not that I'm trying to poke fun at anybody who believes that. And I'm not saying that it's not true, because who am I? I don't know. But what I am saying is that if you look at quote unquote African Americans, which is a term that I don't necessarily resonate with, but if you look at melanated people who are grouped as Black or African American, most of us are in poverty. Most of us don't have anything. We don't own anything. We don't control any governmental structures or things that are going on. We ain't in charge. We're in charge of the hood politics and the ghetto politics and the ratchet politics, but
anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in,
oh well, it's gonna check your ass out.
We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
We're not in charge of anything. We provide the entertainment and the culture and all those other things, but we're not in charge of anything. We don't actually own anything. So with that being said, what does that say about our mindset? I don't want to have a negative mindset. I don't want to have a mindset of powerlessness. But what does that say if everyone around me, everyone who my children go to school with, everyone who I frequently see within my community, what does that say about all of us if we are all in the same predicament? It says that we have a mindset that dictates that we will be powerless. It's funny because I'm just using Black people as an example, but this can go for any group that feels oppressed and marginalized. When you talk about revenge of the nerds, people talk about how people who are considered to be nerdy or goofy or unpopular grow up to be multimillionaires and turn into people like Elon Musk,
I do know that you were bullied at school and had a difficult...
I was almost beaten to death, if you'd call that bullied.
He was shy and awkward at school. Elon didn't have many friends.
Pupils at Elon's school saw him as strange, and he was systematically bullied for years. A gang beat up his best friend, making him agree never to hang around with Elon. On one occasion, Elon was pushed down the flight of stairs and beaten violently, leaving him in hospital for weeks.
It's no surprise then that as an adult, he's a fighter.
It applies to a plethora of people, and it really applies to anybody at the end of the day. If you are a person who believes because you are oppressed that you deserve or are entitled to some type of power, then you are sorely mistaken. You are being deceived. You're misunderstanding the assignment, because that does not dictate your ability to have power, nor does it dictate whether or not you'll be a good leader. Honestly, all African Americans or people who are descendants of enslaved peoples were able to get their quote unquote reparations and 40 acres and a mule, we'd be broke in a week, if not less. because your mindset dictates your reality. And if your reality isn't changing, it's because your mindset isn't changing. And no amount of jewels and gems and material wealth, or a change in your financial status, even a change in your community, is going to change the way you think and see yourself. Therefore, it won't change the way you conduct yourself. I've lived in several different areas within Georgia. I'm talking about United States, the state of Georgia. And in every area that I've lived in, it doesn't matter what race or ethnicity people are. It doesn't matter what religion people are. It doesn't matter how much money someone has. If their mindset is encapsulated within a certain belief system, they're going to continue to like carry that out. They're going to continue to play out that same story over and over, regardless of what their outward reality does to change. Like, I've lived in more expensive neighborhoods. I have known people who lived in expensive neighborhoods even more so than mine. I've lived in poor neighborhoods. I've lived in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. I've lived around Black people, white people, Latinos, people from other countries, races, and ethnicities. And literally, the only thing that defines a person's actions and behaviors is their mindset. And if you got a ghetto mindset, you're going to have a ghetto ass reality. And that's just the thick of it.
4 questions. 1, do you have a favorite Spanish word, and what is it?
Hola.
Would you like to elaborate?
Hola mean hi, hello. So like, you know, you see a hola, girl, you be like, hola, mommy. Hi, mommy. Hi, daddy.
Girl, bye.
Okay. So what you got in your hand?
Water.
New bag, Fendi, Louis. What's on the feet?
Fendi.
Girl, what kind of water is it?
You gotta answer this. You got it.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that huck to and spit on that thing. You get me?
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out.
What I want people to understand is that you can't ask for power if you don't have a mindset that's ready to handle that power. And a lot of people know with great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man, child. And that was the realest quote that I've heard almost in my entire life. One of the realest quotes I've ever heard. And people don't really appreciate it. People take that for granted. But when you have a lot of power and you utilize it poorly, which a lot of us are seeing play out in our reality right now with our leaders and people who have been elevated to a position of power.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
When you don't understand the meaning of that power and the influence that comes with that power and the effects that utilizing that power has on the people around you, you're going to fumble the ball. You're going to fumble the bag and you're going to be back where you started every time. With that being said, that's why there are so many cycles that repeat. It doesn't matter if a majority of white people have power or a majority of Black people have power. It doesn't matter who's the one holding the baton.
Then my head hit the wall. Boom. But I had a praying grandmother.
It's about how that person holding the baton chooses to use it. And I just feel like so many people right now throughout all of our communities are wanting and begging and wishing and praying for the power dynamics to change. But like, what if that were to actually happen? Right? Like, this is the stuff that I think about. What if the power dynamics were to actually change? What if the shift was to take place today after you watch this video, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you know, the aliens decide to land, which is a bunch of BS because they already, they already here, child. You get over it, okay? But for the premises of this story, the aliens decide to land and we just all looking at them and they shift the power dynamics and give power from the rich to the poor. What do you think is going to happen? It's gonna be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas with all the cheat codes on out here. It's gonna be a hot mess. because majority of people don't have a leadership mindset. A majority of people don't have self-control. A majority of people don't have common sense. A majority of people, which I'm stuttering to say, a lot of folks are ignorant. There's a lot of stupid people. Oh my God, there's so many stupid people in the world. There's a lot of stupid people. There's a lot of ignorant people. There are a lot of people who don't care or give a damn about the person standing next to them. There's a lot of people who are afraid and have a fear-driven mindset. There's a lot of people who have a poverty-stricken mindset. There are a lot of people who just don't understand how things work in the world because they've never been anywhere. They've never been outside of their county. And you think that changing the power dynamics and shifting the power from the rich to the poor is gonna help something? That's dumb. That's stupid. That's naive, if anything, because it's not gonna change anything. It's just gonna cause the same situations to revert and transmute and mutate into what it is now, just with other people that we point the finger at. Now the poor who become rich are going to be the ones to blame, and it's going to be the same cycle over and over again. That's why a lot of y'all get stuck in fucked up relationships, because you keep playing that tug of war and back and forth game with the person who you're dealing with. Whether it's platonic, romantic, or professional, you keep playing that back and forth game expecting for something to be different. One minute, the other person has the power and they're driving you up a wall, driving you insane, and making a situation hard for you within whatever the confines of your relationship are. And then what happens? All of a sudden, now you've got the power back. Now that person who's been driving you up a wall, driving you crazy, you're the one with the power. Now, when you slow down and you pause and you look at it from a higher perspective, did anything change when it comes to your behavior or your actions once you finally became the one in power? Once that raggedy dusty man or that raggedy dusty woman that you were dealing with finally started getting jealous of you living your best life? Did you do anything to maybe be more mature or to look at the situation differently? Possibly. Some of you more than likely stopped dealing with that person altogether. Congratulations. You are one of the ones who ain't stupid. But a lot of people choose to feed off of that, and they choose to indulge themselves in that and gorge themselves with that egotistical stroking that goes on. And it just creates the same problem. That's why people get into these runner chaser dynamics, and people get into these back and forth tug of war relationships that are counterproductive for everybody involved. One thing that I think a lot of people need to realize about everything in life is that whatever happens on a smaller scale, like I've said many times before, happens on a larger scale. No amount of redistribution of wealth or redistribution of power is going to help any improvements happen unless a large amount of people choose to change their mindset. And until that happens, it doesn't matter really who's in power. We're all gonna be in a predicament and a situation where we're left at the hands of other people's ignorance.
Come Debo. Who? Debo.
I just check mine in.
Why you tripping, Debo? Shut up, fuck, I'll knock your ass out.
So what I suggest, because I'm just a little old lady on YouTube. I'm not old, bitch, never will be. But I'm just a little lady on YouTube who may or may not know what she's talking about. And what I would suggest to combat this is to really train yourself. Expand. Go do something that you've never done before. Go to a place that you've never been. Visit a city just to see what it's like. If you've grown up around minorities, go get around some white people. If you've always been around white people, go take a trip to the hood. Don't do anything stupid, but just go. The more experiences that you gain, and I know those are extreme examples, but y'all listen, the more experiences that you gain, the better you're able to gauge how you should respond and react in situations and what the best course of action is. If you've never experienced anything outside of what your normal is, you're never gonna understand how to deal with those situations. And the more that you know, the more that you grow. So can we stop with this whole what if situation about people being in power? What
if folks would have just voted for Kamala? What if folks would have just decided to clean up the streets? What if folks just weren't allowed to have pew-pews and everything else?
Listen, it doesn't matter. we will find a way. If the prisoners that are locked up in jail, child, if they find a way to make these quote unquote gourmet meals, and they can pull a bag of Cheetos, noodles, some taco shell, if they can pull all of this together and make a meal that looks, I mean, halfway decent but a little questionable.
Honey, Italian seasoning, Parmesan cheese. We have the jalapeno peppers, diced pickle, zesty garlic pickle, mozzarella cheese, honey glazed turkey dog, your mackerel, which is the fish, spicy jalapeno cheese, salsa, and last but not least, tortilla chips. Now, we all know the first thing you do is what? Wash your hands. So we're gonna go over here. Wash my hands for y'all.
We've been over here on lockdown. It's been like 3 fights in less than 10 minutes. So when I came out, y'all know I had to make me something to eat. This how I do it. I'm coming to the party like this on 4 of them. I got the macaroni and cheese, the green bean casserole, cornbread, and the meatloaf. They like, damn, Ari, how you do it like that? Damn, Ari, ooh.
Prison poor boys. Whole situation.
Tell her you coming.
Yeah, the real one.
I ain't got my phone. My phone inside. I'm watching them cook some chicken. Matter of fact, don't give her the phone. I need her to do something for me.
Yeah, we ain't playing. Sad.
Just go out there and tell her right quick. Tell her. So I need her to send me $25 somewhere.
I'm trying to tell you, trying to buy one of these places.
Yeah.
How we coming in the chat right here.
But you know, folks get creative. If people in jail and prisons can be creative enough to get phones, to have whole societal structures and systems, rules and regulations, and then make gourmet meals, trust and believe, if we have to, or if you have to, you'll be able to figure out how to make something shake. Okay? Wishing and hoping and praying for the situation to change or for the dynamics to shift isn't going to help anything. It's going to be the same way that it was before. And the only way to solve any problem that feels like it's out of balance is to regain balance. And that's just what it is. And if we don't take the time to understand how to regain that balance, nothing is going to change, booze. Nothing is going to change. But I'm going to get off my soapbox. Y'all get in the comments and let me know what your opinions are about this. Have you guys ever been in a position of power after you didn't have power and it got a little bit sticky? Let me know in the comments. If you had more power right now, what would you do with it? If you were the one who was in charge of the world for a day, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe, because we're trying to get to what? 2,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. And I guess that's it, honey. I will see you guys next time. Bye.